to get this going, get the system up and running, get everything in order. Hey, 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 what's happening? Good to see everyone. Just trying to make sure that everything is in order. Give me just a moment. Working this out so that way we are all able to be together and on the same page. One of the things that we talked about, so for those of you that have been following the channel, following us here on Instagram, one of the things that I want to clarify is that we're in the middle of our fall equinox community fast. So that's the primary thing we're going to be talking about today, but we're going to talk about it from a very different perspective than last session. Last session we talked about it, we were looking at just what the fast was going to be about and how it was going to be, considering you got a variety of fasts. Some of that I touched on earlier in earlier sessions. What we're talking about here, what we want to be able to do is to set it up in such a way that we have the opportunity, we have the wonderful opportunity to be able to talk more specifically together about the ways in which you would implement the Tai Chi Chuan, the Qigong, or the yoga as a complement and an addition to the fast that you have going on. And that is hugely important because it affords you an opportunity to not only deal with the internal organs from a nutritional standpoint, but now because we're utilizing the body, you're also dealing with it from the standpoint of your mental, emotional state and tapping into the spiritual relationship as well as you do your breathing and you get moving. So give me just a moment. Just got to make sure that our simulcast, as my man Chick Hearn used to say, is running, trying to get this going on Facebook as well. So we'll see. We're going to give it one more shot. If it runs, good. If not, we're going to keep on going and we'll deal with it afterwards. So the most important thing for us to really begin with is that when you're doing a fast like what we're on right now, the raw fast, the key is increasing your water intake. Primary reason you want to increase your water intake if you're on a raw fast is because you're taking in a lot more fiber as opposed to a juice fast. So a juice fast basically allows the internal digestive system to relax quite a bit. This fast, on the other hand, this work is designed to have the digestive system actually put in some work. And so because of that, your body is intimately connected. When we talk hydration, and if you have a chance, you ought to check out the work of our hydrotherapy, colon hydrotherapy, where you actually have someone that actually knows the in-depth aspects of this, where they can actually talk about it. Because I'm not going to go into detail about that, either like enemas or colon hydrotherapy in terms of their use in a fast. But as we get into the more liquid fasts, I'll probably need to spend some time talking about that so folks that want to join us have some clarity and understanding of what that is, what the process is, what goes on in the body, why you would do something like that. Suffice it to say that what we're working on with this particular kind of fast, so we're on a raw food fast. Also, we're doing what's called a, I forget the technical term, but basically we're trying to have folks not eat for until 11 a.m. solid foods. So you have two kinds of fasts happening together. So we're doing raw foods for everything, and usually there's no solid foods beyond like juice water, smoothie before 11 a.m. So solid foods after 11. So we get that out of the way, and we want to do that so that the body and the system is running clean. And so I'm going to talk a bit about those interrelationships today in concert with talking about the shift from summer to fall, and then talk about the body's movements and how those things are interrelated. So hopefully we'll have the good fortune to be able to engage in this, and then leave some time for questions for folks at the end, so you all will have an opportunity to directly engage, so that even if you aren't able to participate in this fast with us, the next time that we fast, which will be for the winter solstice, you may want to check it out. Again, it's still going to be food. It's going to be raw food. Next year, we're going to be doing a diverse series of fasts, again, at the solstice and equinox. But they'll be broad enough so you'll have an opportunity to choose what may be most beneficial for you, your households, your family. As some of you may have seen last night, my son and my wife, my partner, are still eating cooked food on this particular fast because of how it's showing up in their cycles. So it can be challenging to have folks fasting and eating at the same time if everybody's not on the same. That takes a really heavy level of discipline. So I don't recommend that, unless it's absolutely necessary. Many folks that have kind of multi-food eating households understand, you may have to do multiple meals for folks, but usually everybody's cooking. So this is, again, doing raw food requires some advanced planning. And so in the advanced planning aspect, it's not just something you wake up and do because you don't want to be hungry. And my goal in setting up this fast and sharing the information with everyone is to do it in such a fashion that you have the opportunity to use this as an opportunity to be successful, to understand your relationship with food and to food by utilizing the food logs. And through that process, understanding that you may, address some of your emotional attachment to how you eat. It may relate to your general approach to when you eat and your food selection choices for eating. So one of the things that I've endeavored to do is to also, and I shared the calendar here on my feed, is to point out that Mars is in retrograde. And so a great deal of what that means is that folks, as things come up, you may be more prone to argument or misunderstanding. And also, if you're fasting in a place where you're not used to it, you may be more prone, maybe a little short with the people that you love and are around you. So what this affords you the opportunity to do is to recognize and take another breath and say, hey, this could be me not acting outside of myself because of the situation that I'm in. So it affords us a time to slow down, which is what you want to do when you're on a fast, slow down. The other piece that we want to talk about is we're doing this using the Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong methods that are taught through the Kemetic Aha and Sama Association, or KhASA. See the sign over there. So along with that, we have our classes Tuesdays and Thursdays live on Zoom, where you can catch it on our YouTube channel. And so when we're doing that, we wanted to create the entire opportunity for you to understand we are moving with the cosmos. As I've talked about earlier, your body is a copy of the greater cosmos that's outside. And so what we are working on in this process of moving the body, of eating appropriately for who you are. And remember, it's for who you are, because I come from a tradition where I don't just have a broad spectrum health plan for you. I do something that's for you specifically. So while I may be saying to you, you need to use coconut water and you need to use this, for someone else, I may say, you want to use pineapple juice to get similar hydration as opposed to coconut water in this instance. And so when we have time, if some of you have a concern, some things you want to address, how we would look at it traditionally or culturally, we'll have a few minutes at the end where you can ask a question or two. And my goal is to provide an opportunity for us to, particularly with this fast, to have a little bit of dialogue, because this fast has come during a unique time on the planet. All right, so not only are we dealing with heavy emotion from us being indoors for basically 6 months, many of us have been on a voluntary shelter at home. And that's going to put us in a very different emotional space, a very different mental space. So I've been offering the sessions for access to everyone, so you have an opportunity to, check it out, to move, and to move in a way that is a little bit different, but that is healing for you. So we're teaching folks how to breathe, teaching folks how to move their bodies in ways that heal the internal organs, that help to remove some of the crust from the eyes and the third eye, to be able to perceive clearly. Because this year is going to require all of us to not only see clearly, hear clearly, write well with our 2 ears and write well with our 2 eyes, but to not only have eyes that see and ears that hear, to be able to discern appropriate action in line with our mission for why we have decided to incarnate on this planet. Utilizing the Tai Chi Chuan, the Qigong, and the meditation that we utilize along with this nutrition system serves to disrupt the mass media corporate propaganda that's being pushed at us, so that you're able to interrupt that process. And through that interruption, it affords you an opportunity to rest, to heal, to get re-energized, to learn how the body functions from the ground up, or from the toes all the way up to the hair follicles. And so while we get this, we're going to talk about it. So we get in. So here we are. We're doing our raw food fast. And the raw food fast, like I talked about, and I gave explanation. If you get an opportunity, send me a direct, not really a direct message, but at my email, which I said in others, so you email me, I'll give you the program. It's very simple, lays out the day for you. So you wake up, the things you do in the morning. I went over this last week. So that part you can check out here on IGTV or elsewhere. I think it's up on YouTube also. Because we have to get to the point where we understand what real sovereignty is about. That this body has a ruler, and it is not the government, it is not parents, that I have to be taught and given the skill sets so that I rule this body. And then I make the choices for what benefit this body and the ways in which those things work or don't work. Now, there are some things that, of course, as we live in community, there'll be some things, some trade-offs, particularly living in this, cis heteropatriarchal settler colonial capitalist system that we have to address. But beyond that, we can also work to create the kind of world that we want to see. And unplugging allows us an opportunity to do that. And by unplugging, well, we're on the fast, which is going to go from the 15th to the 25th, just 10 quick days. It affords you the opportunity to get in tune with your body, to look at the mornings. And so let me just break this out. I'm going to, as I talked about in earlier sessions, I talked about the meridian system, coming from traditional Chinese medicine, and we utilize that within the Tai Chi Chuan. So fall looks a lot at the lungs and large intestines in terms of the healing aspect and the work that is done there. And so as we talk about this type of healing going forward, lungs, large intestines, one of the things that you want to begin to look at we talk about, now we're going to go nutrition first, then we're going to get into Tai Chi, then we're going to get into yoga. But I want to break down the meridian cycles and how this works first. So the lung meridian is active between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And that's usually the time when folks are up doing deep breathing exercises, folks are meditating. It's an ideal time to be doing deep breathing. And so that works with the lungs. You clear the lungs out. And that's why you're drinking water first thing when you get up. The other piece is that right after the lungs, from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. is the large intestine meridian. Okay. And that is now important because most people, when they get up, they have a desire to relieve the bladder and relieve the bowels, large intestine. And so if you're doing the work from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. of meditation, alternate nostril breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are a SAR stance. And the meditation, you're working through the bellows breathing that we've talked about before, the deep breathing down into the abdomen. If you're doing that breathing, you're warming the body and you're creating an environment that is optimal for the large intestine to work efficiently, and you're healing the internal organs. In doing that, should there be anything in the body from your overnight slumber, it's first thing out. So a lot of us are walking around and, you may say to folks sometimes, you full of stuff, we'll call it. Okay, and many folks walking around right now are full of stuff. Because one, for every meal that you eat, 2 to 3 hours later, it should leave your body. And so what that means is that if you're eating 3 so-called squares a day, it should be a minimum of 3 movements a day, without talking about Tai Chi Chuan, yoga, meditation, breathing exercises. So you should be, and that's what we call regular or regularity. So folks should be going very frequently, all right? And so I need y'all to grasp, and this is if we're doing the raw food fast, okay? So I need folks to grasp what I'm saying. That's the raw food. I want to kind of keep coming back to we're doing raw food. And the reason we're talking about that, and I keep stressing that, is it's going to be typically going to be a lot higher in fiber. It's going to require significantly more water than you may normally drink. And so we allow green tea as we've been on this, but primarily you want to do something like a ginger tea in the mornings. What ginger tea affords you is that it's good for the digestive system. It connects to the Agni in the Hindi system or the yogic systems. In Kemet, we would call it a Duamutef, but it connects to the fire energy that burns in the belly. And so ginger is one of those herbs that actually helps to activate that energy. And through doing the bellows breathing every day, what you're doing is you're not only activating that fire, but you begin to work with that fire. And through working with that fire, you then are able to transmute the energy of the body so that you now have more available energy because your system is burning clean. All right? And so to ensure that we're actually also healing as we're moving into this transitional phase, the things that you'll want to look for are, well, what are the foods that are helpful? So I'll do the lungs first, because I've already partially touched on large intestine, which is with ginger, but I'm going to come back. So if it's lungs, large intestine, what we're talking about here is grapes are excellent. Any of the brassica vegetables, which are then going to be things like lacinato, dinosaur, kale, the cabbages, all right, the chards, okay, the heirloom spinach, which isn't in season right now, but if it were, so the spinaches, broccoli, cauliflower, got it, those kind of things, all right? You're gonna get those grapes, you got melons, you got the gourds, and you got leafy greens as we start getting into the veggie side and the fruit side. Watermelon's still good because the season has shifted due to global warming or climate change, human caused climate change, however we want to deal with that. So, and then moving from that, we got lungs, large intestine. So that's what we're doing to get that going. Then there are also different herbs that we can utilize to aid that. So for lungs, we want to look at fenugreek, mullein, and when it gets really heavy, you can actually, and ginger works as well. So a nice combination that's readily or easily available is traditional medicinals, Breathe Easy. And the reason I'm referencing the lungs is not just because we're headed into fall, but also many of us across the world, because of the fires that are currently raging across the Western United States, almost headed into Canada, are beginning to impact the air quality around the world. So the lungs right now and how you're breathing and how you're working will become more and more essential. So we want to look at ways to help the lungs, and then Breathe Easy tea is one of those things that actually aids very easily. Now, there's another plant called chaparral or creosote, which I will hopefully, I will talk to one of my elder sisters who is a master at speaking about the chaparral creosote. I'll have her on to talk specifically about creosote. It's a special desert plant that aids and helps particularly the lungs and cold and boosting the immune system around that. Because as we're doing this breathing, you understand that breath, the average person really can't go a minute and a half, just holding their own breath. So we don't last as long as we think we do without actual breath work. There are some folks who, because of the nature of their work, can go a bit longer. I think David Blaine is doing some amazing things, just showing people how to understand the mind over body concept and principle. So he's talked about that, but you can get with me on some yoga and some breathing exercises a little later on, and we can talk about ways to expand the lung capacity. I'm actually going to be in exploratory talks with some folks around ways that we may be able to use some of our tools to help COVID survivors in terms of that, just in terms of some of these things that we're talking about now. So beyond that, and back on topic, our fast affords us the opportunity to every day check in and get the lungs clear, get the large intestine clear through the breathing, through the movement of the body. So right now we're at an area where we're also connected to the lunar cycle. We're halfway through the lunar cycle because the movement of Tai Chi Chuan in the form that we have from great Grandmaster Dalu on the Harikafra and on through to Aija Hutahuta Kuti, my direct teacher. What you have is a form that incorporates the daily movements of the sun along with the larger movements. And so we get to a monthly movement of the lunar cycle. And then we talk about a macrocosmic, microcosmic relationship to the cosmos and its movements, which is why you will have me on our calendar, which many of you saw here on IG and elsewhere, where I reference the different planets and where they are and kind of loosely talk about it here. There are folks who devote their time specifically to what we call Htpu, or knowledge of the stars and planets. I, in my training, have had to do that work, but in terms of easy accessibility for folks on the fast, when it comes to things related to astrology, I point folks to Word Life Astrology with Sonia Marie, because she is able to encapsulate and really get it in tight. Another person that I really like what they're doing is a sister on here called Bush Mama. She's actually on here. She don't know I was going to talk a bit about her, but she's doing wonderful things, helping to teach and heal people and just share a lot of this information. Okay, so you got folks in this watching it, sharing with us that will be able to aid you. If you just follow them on the IG, you'd be far on your way of getting more in tune with the cosmos. So I'm grateful that you're here, rolling, hanging out with me. So now we got our breathing going. We got our physical movement happening, and we got our foods that we're going to eat. I suggest that folks use spring water for this fast, these kinds of fasts. Mountain spring water is available almost everywhere. It's not your regular purified tap water. And I support the perspective that comes from that from Dr. Goss, one of our world-renowned healers. And I'll probably spend some time talking about water because I'm one of the folks who, I come out of the Good Life Health Food Center, which was a community health and healing center, which also birthed not just folks like me who also love hip hop and would refer to myself as someone from hip hop from that community, but also birthed the good life that most folks know from underground hip hop. That was one of the community activities for young people that came and was birthed out of the vision of the sister who owned it, Ifa Sade. So I want to also give a shout out, and may she be uplifted and honored. She was one of the folks who began my journey with understanding food a bit more directly and its relationship to consciousness and its relationship to the ability that we have for our understanding plant medicine, for the great respect for the plants, and for how they are used and partner with us to help us understand ourselves more fully so that we can be able to be on mission for why we're here. And so now I want to put it all together just really quickly. So you get up in the morning, between 3 and 7, we'll say. All right, between 3 and 7. And you have an opportunity when you look to the east. And if you're up around 4ish, you'll see Venus is up. And you'll get to see another star that's up. It's called Septet, or we call it Septet, or Sirius A is also visible. So if you get an opportunity, you want to get bathed in the light from those folks, you could do your movements, your Tai Chi, your dance underneath that movement. We're just coming out of the new moon phase. So hopefully you set your intentions for the next 29 days, 29.5 days, of what you want to be able to manifest, and also for the next year until we come back to that particular moon cycle. So the goal is to do that. And so in doing that, we rise with the sun, or before the sun, we pay homage, and that's a great deal of what the sun salutations are, or the sun rises over the mountain is an acknowledgement, along with all of nature, that as the earth is rotating, that we pay homage to the thing that brings life and affords life to all of us, the sun. And so as we do that breathing, the sun brings us direct energy. And so that if you're in the sun, it's not just heat and warmth. It's also information, light, information. And if you listen very closely, it can aid in activating the heart, which is the sun of your body. And it enables you to get in tune with what's happening all over the rest of the world and with the movements that are occurring and your desire for liberation and freedom for you personally and for all of us collectively. So as we bring it together, we got our breathing, we have our foods, so we up, we breathe, we do our breathing exercises, that's working the lungs, we get some fruit, some juice. Usually I start with a warm drink. Well, first and so usually that's gonna be like some ginger tea, or it's gonna be what I call a little tea. It's warm water, turmeric, black pepper, a little coconut oil, a little cinnamon. And I say a little, but it's like a tumbler full with the warm water. Not hot, but warm. And the reason it's warm is because I'm using wildflower honey. And so when you drink that, what that enables you to do is it's good for the heart, stabilizes the blood sugar, balances out the pancreas and the liver, so it's doing what it needs to do. The turmeric is an adaptogenic herb, which means that it's going and getting into your system and it's working to reduce inflammation wherever you find it. Okay, it's doing that healing work in your body. So it's addressing inflammation, it's addressing pain. So it's wonderful first thing in the morning. And sometimes I add a little ginger to it, or I do a ginger tea separately. I try to have tea early in the morning. Of course, we have our elimination cycles that are happening. I do my Asar stance, which I've shown folks before. You'll be able to see it here. Asar stance is important because it is going to be your rooting and your expansion and root into the cosmos, into the earth, your ability to do a standing meditation. And with that standing meditation, what it enables you to do is to now have the opportunity to get that full deep breath, but to do it in a way that now moves the energy through the whole body, okay? And the way in which we teach Asar stance and the movement of hands, you heard me talk before about the 8 psychic channels. And so we're now moving the energy, not just through the meridians, but through the psychic channels and through the chakras or aritu, the pools of energy that, people talk about 7, 12, 21 within the human body and around the body. So we're utilizing all of those energies at the same time. And I've gone through that on earlier sessions. Please check them out if you get an opportunity, some of the other videos. these videos that I'm doing, these Sundays with Seba, are designed to build from the previous ones until now. So that if you have the information from the previous one, you get it. We do a recap at the beginning so that we don't lose anybody, so you can jump in right now and then go back and fill in the gaps. All right, so we want to be able to do it that way because we know that with consistency, we're going to build together. And that's important for your body. So you're going to hear me say this a lot, but you want to make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. Because as you feel better, and I'm not saying you want to go, but I'm not even going to call them bad habits, but there are things that you know that you feel better when you do them. And so many of us have, we call these so-called comfort foods or other sorts of things. The issue on a comfort food is that it brings you comfort. Okay, but why is it bringing you comfort? That's why we have the food logs, so that you can now understand, why am I eating this? What is it making me feel really? I may have an emotional attachment that says that this is feeding me something good and reminding me of grandmama. But what it may actually be doing is contributing to my fibroids or contributing to my colon issues or my stomach issues or the mucus that I seem to not ever be able to get rid of. And now, oh, okay. All right, well, what is this food? Because we have to remember, and I broke this down at the beginning, air, water, nutrition, and then movement. Those are the things that keep us well as non-movement, which would be meditation. Okay, so the food log is an essential part of this fast that most people run from. And it's not just because it's writing and journaling, it's because you're now at the mirror. You got to look at yourself and say, what do I feel when I eat this? What's happening to my body? Am I listening to my body tell me what's happening? And I'll tell you, and I'll be honest, I'll tell you what happened with me. What I found was, and I like to call myself the cookie monster. I love cookies. You know, that I don't need cookies. I eat too much rice. I eat too many potatoes. I eat too many chips. I love those things, but they are not fulfilling and aiding me along my journey. And so when I really dived in, particularly after being at home, sheltering voluntarily in place with my family, you know what I realized? That, oh, not only was I gaining weight, but when we did that fast in June, and now in this fast now, I don't need sweets. I got fruit. I know that sounds wild, but occasionally I'll have some vegan cake, or I have some wonderful, amazing vegan chef friends that do some great, great things. You've seen me post them and eat them. You know, Baba's Vegan Cafe, shout out to Sister Dorothy, the upcoming vegan pastry chef, and the things she's doing. It's amazing. However, I really want y'all to understand that I don't even miss it. It's not even like I'm having withdrawals, or like, you know, ooh, I wish I could have it, or I'm gonna be strong on this fast. It's not even like that. It's like, hey, but you know, we have some of this, you know, we made some brownies, or we got this. I'm like, I'm good, thanks. You know, I'm gonna have some juice tonight, or, you know, I'm gonna have a little bit of this, or occasionally I'll have a, you know, scoop of vegan ice cream, or some sorbet. But even then, it's so rare now, because as we go through this, you're breathing, you're cleaning the inside out. The outside is moving with Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong, so the muscles are getting there, the body's getting there, the skin is getting there, the water. You're cleaning the system out. I know what sweet is supposed to be now. Sweet is fruit. And I can add on some rich extras if I want. I think it's your internet. Somebody's saying I'm cutting in and out. So it's okay. And again, this is not me missing anything. This isn't FOMO. This is me aligning with my mission. And I'm talking about me. This is my journey that I'm sharing. Others of you may be on a different journey. It's okay. There's no shame in this. I'm not shaming anybody. Everyone is free to make their choice. What I'm here saying is that if you want to make a choice to make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change, we are here to help you. And it's not something that you have tomorrow on. Okay, because we're not promised that next day. I got today, I got right now. And remember that if you don't change anything, right? If you change nothing, nothing changes. Nothing changes. And so it wasn't a goal for me to give up sweets. It wasn't a goal for me to stop eating cake. That wasn't my plan. Folks that know me personally know I love cake. I love pie. I love sweets. Don't get me wrong. But right now, it's just, that's not my path. I'm not where I'm not getting fed by it right now. I'm not saying I'm not going to go back to it at some point. I'm not saying that I'm not going to have it again. I'm saying that right now I can clearly see why I'm on this planet. I can clearly see what I'm here to do and how I can go about doing that. And I want to help those that are interested in doing the same during this time where many people are trying to embrace and to say and use every excuse possible. Oh, well, we're stuck at home. Okay, well, my class is free on Zoom and on YouTube. So you could do it in the comfort of your own home. Well, I'd like to lose weight. I found out that, being at home, I'm gaining weight. Well, we got this Tai Chi Chuan and this yoga that can actually help you. And we can aid you because we've got 2 fasts now that we've done during this voluntary stay at home, where you have an opportunity to briefly fast, excuse me, in a way that not only has a supportive community, because we have a whole Facebook group, and we have newsletters that go out to those folks that are interested, not just here on Instagram, but over on Facebook, we got a Facebook group. So we do it in that way. And so I think someone posted in the group about, well, I'm not going to be disparaging today. I'm going to be encouraging and uplifting in this right now. So let me get this. All right, there we go. So I don't want to clown, but some folks know me. I'm normally a little bit of a provocateur in terms of speech around some of these things, but today I'm going to stay in high energy, and we'll come back and I'll talk about that another time. But again, this system is designed for you to compromise your values. It's designed to have you shift your goals, your dreams, and to put those on hold because it wants you to buy into this cis heteropatriarchal settler colonial capitalist system and support that. And what I'm saying is that if we get together with each other and find ways to work, wherever, however you get paid, once we begin to start working together to get free, we'll be able to break off of that system and that structure and be able to build with each other. And that's the piece that I want us to be able to grasp. Many of us, don't have the space to grow our own food, so we got to find a way to get that food, clothing, shelter. We got to find ways to do that. So I get that. That's part of the buy. That's part of the thing of this system. Okay, but once you get that, are you going to just eat the crap, or are we going to find ways again? We got to eat this. We got to find a way to be healthy, not just feel like I'm doing the right thing. And that's why I'm saying make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. Saying I'm making a lifestyle change is easy because this is Instagram. I could post pictures of all kinds of vegan looking stuff, and it don't even have to be my meal. You know what I'm saying? Because people confront, and and I know it's like, yeah, look at what, and so let's, again, I'm not out here performing this. I live this every day. And I wanted to demonstrate that and I did it last night because my son was like, Baba, you always posting your pictures of how beautiful the food looks when you prepare. Look what I did with my plate. Post this on Instagram. And so it's like, all right, son, Not only did I, and so I've been making his food on this fast. He's eating, because again, there's a certain age. You don't have to, everybody's not in condition to fast. And I just need y'all to understand that it was my joy to share that with my son, to share that with y'all. And he was just beaming on how he had that presentation. So even though I'm on the fast, I'm presenting cooked food. So I need y'all to understand that I got the ability to be on mission and still enable the love and the joy from my children, even though it may not be directly what I'm doing right now. That I got time to listen, because that's hugely important. I want to be able to model that behavior, because I'm Baba everywhere I go. Because I recognize that people see me, and you got to understand that I'm on this. And when I'm on it, and just same thing for you, consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. This ain't a performance. This ain't a performance. Okay? And what I mean by that is there are folks that have modified this fast because where they are and what they're doing. Again, I'm not holding a loaded barrel to somebody's head. We're in conversation with folks. There are folks that have modified this fast. There's some folks that what they've done is it's like, you know what? My body really can't handle raw food, just the way my makeup is. However, I can do these smoothies a bit more. I can be more conscious about what I'm putting in my body. And that's the goal. All my work is designed to do is to help you be conscious, to be aware of the consequences of the choices that you make. So when you breathe in and out with mindfulness, you know what's happening. You have that intention there. And I'll show you a quick tale, and I'm going to get back on my mission. There was this woman that we were working with, and she was having breathing difficulties. And I was trying to get her to do a lung clearing breathing exercise. And she started hyperventilating. She started going, no, I'm okay. I'll be okay. She's like, no, but we can help you. No, I'm fine. I just got to get a deep breath. And then she took out this cigarette, and she's breathing hard, and she lit it. Said, oh, I feel better now. I got that deep breath. And I know it seems humorous to many of you, but she could not conceptualize taking a deep breath without it coming through her Newport menthol. And that she wasn't able to frame the fact that her anxiety was connected to her addiction, which was also the emotional attachment as well as the physical piece that the crafters of that particular substance built into it so that they could hook you for life. I'm not talking about what we call frontal leaf or tobacco. Okay, I'm talking about that crap that they sell. Okay, if you are really needing to smoke tobacco, get at me directly. There is an organically grown tobacco that I use in ritual and ceremony so that I don't have to process the pesticides, so that my ancestors and those that require tobacco are able to receive it appropriately. That, as an example, because I'm a sensitive in terms of air quality, that certain I'm going to put my wife out there, I have to have high quality candles. So that they're sustainable, so that they're fair trade dealt with, and that the wick doesn't produce the kind of ash or smoke that impacts me. So my candles are, we'll say that they're not inexpensive. I'm grateful for the work that I'm doing, but even still, and many folks go, but you're supposed to have a lit candle on your altar at all times. I'm like, I think the ancestors and the spirits will understand that if they want Inpu to breathe, Inpu can't do that as frequently as everybody else. So I'm going to have this candle maybe this way, and it's going to work. And that's how that's gonna be. And they understand because they know who I am and they got here. It's my relationship with them, not yours. And this is what I want y'all to really get clear on. We're working on what is my relationship to myself, to my ancestors, to my family, and how am I using the tools I have been given, the tools that I have not only been given, but now that I've learned how to use them, am I putting them to good use for myself, for my household, my family, my community, my people? That's why we're doing this community fast, and that's why I'm talking about it in this way. This ain't just some we on some fasting stuff. This on some let's get in alignment. And so most people that fast, they do it without doing Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong and yoga and breathing exercises and meditation with it. Fasting is a way of getting in tune with your body. Along with these other tools that I've been talking about, Tai Chi Chuan, Qigong, meditation, I want to offer you the opportunity to really know yourself. That's all this is. And so once you're able to get to know you for a little bit, now you can make it that consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. And I'm just talking about today. Tomorrow's a different day. But ideally, if we step into the light of tomorrow, knowing that we're clean, we've worked through, we're not full of stuff, I will have the energy tomorrow more than I had today. And one of the things that comes out of it when you get on this you start fasting, what you'll see is not only is your energy level increase, your requirement for sleep decreases because you're not eating things that require extra energy, extra time and work from the body and the consciousness. And so 5 hours, 4 hours, I'm popping up 3 a.m. Why? Well, it's lung time. It's large intestine time. We got work to do. And so if you ever find yourself waking up at the same time over and over and over again, the same time, think about what's happening and what it is that you may need to get done. Not let me hurry up and go back to sleep, but at least write it down. Whatever's on your mind, put it in a journal, write it down. Check out this food log. Okay, so now I talked about juice. And so I do a smoothie in the morning. And one of the things I do is we have locally here in LA a gentleman called McCoy's Wellness. That's how he's on Facebook, not Facebook. He is on Facebook, but it's on Instagram as well. I'll put it in the follow-up comments and whatnot to this so y'all can get to him. Really good processed sea moss gel. So it's wonderful. It affords you the opportunity with your sea moss to get it in. So that now that's very good for the lungs, very good for the immune system because we're still dealing with this COVID. And that was one of the things that pushed me to do these online classes. So once you understand that COVID's never out of my mind, the exercises and movements that we're doing are designed to aid you in getting and keeping yourself healthy and whole. So saying all that to say that we get that. And there's another thing that I use and it's called baobab powder. But again, I use this because I'm talking really for people of African descent, people out of the African diaspora. One of the things that I'm really strongly want people to understand and support is ancestral diets. So know where your people come from, know who you are at a level that when you start eating foods that come from your ancestry, these are foods that you have eaten for millennia, so that your body, the body of your people has adapted to extracting maximal nutrition from these things. And so you learn the traditions of your folks and you eat those foods. They say that coconut oil is not good, except that it's good for people who live where coconuts are found. What's not good is eating stuff that ain't from where you are. And so it's again, we have to look closely at who is deciding for us what is good for us. Most of us, when we eat, and even the folks at the nutritionists, when they actually take the nutritional measure for what nutrients are in your food, I need you to understand they don't deal with the pith, which is the white inside, say, of citrus fruit. That's not measured. That's not in there. They're just looking for the meat and the peel. And our ancestors taught us that the peel is important, and so is the pith, because not just for composting, but for healing. And so I know I'll come back and do a session on that because we're down to our last few minutes together talking about this. But I want you to understand food is an important part of your ability to perceive the external world and your internal world. And so if you're on bad food, if you're ingesting things that are not in line for you and your ancestry and your body and that don't help you, those things, your body over time begins to start to shut down as a result of you putting things in it that are not beneficial for it. And remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so what you hear from me saying, that's a 1:16 ratio if we're going to play around with it. And so what I'm saying is every day, what are you doing that benefits you and your health every day? And I'm going to share, this was very impactful for me. And so I know that those of you, if you're at home, wherever you are, you have access real quick to a pencil and some paper. You can just real quick write down a 1 if you have your health. And so if you're with me, and you're on here and you're using this electronic thing and you don't, I just want you to hold up this finger if you have your health. We got our health. Okay, and I want you to add a 0 next to that for every person that you have that you know that loves you. Not that you love, but that loves you. So, your children, for me, that's 5. Then my partner. So I got 5 zeros, and keep adding zeros, people that love you. If you got a place to stay in the midst of this pandemic, get you a 0. If you got a gainful employment, add yourself a 0. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. You got food, add a 0. If you have these machines, go ahead and add that 0. Awesome. Okay. If you got shoes when you need them, add that 0. It's been hot recently and you were able to stay cool, add that 0. Okay. If it's starting to cool off and you're able to keep warm, add that 0. I'm way down here now with my zeros. I still got this 1. Okay. Now what I want you to do, take away your health. What do you have? Just a bunch of zeros. And so this was something that I learned from Dick Gregory. And this is something that I really want to be able to drive home in these last few minutes that we have together is make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. That if you're not able to be healthy for yourself, you can't help anybody else. And with the weight of the world that all of us are bearing collectively right now, we don't have the collective space for us to look at this world in a way that says that we can bring less than our best to the table. And I'm not talking comparatively, other than to say that you know what you were yesterday. You know what you could do differently in today that can aid you. And this is looking at yourself with compassion, looking at yourself with love, not beating yourself up. This is saying, let me try this one thing and do this one thing better today. All right, I got that. Let me add this next thing. Okay, and then just slowly build on it. We're just talking about being consistent. And I am a proponent of starting small and expanding slowly and keeping it going and just maintain what you have and expand. Okay, I'm not asking somebody to change the world overnight. Yes, but we can do it right now. And you can, just one thing, just pick one thing, right? And, you know, because I need you to understand, I'm dealing with folks, if folks come to me and they want to get better, and but they're not ready to make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. All right, so how can you help me, Inpu? I don't want to change nothing, but I want to get better. Is there a pill that you could give me so I don't have to change that? Is there an herb I can take? Is there a, not real strenuous? I don't want sweat, but I want to move without sweat, without consistency, and get better. Come on, y'all. Come on. We know what we need for ourselves, for our community, for ourselves. We've had people and wise teachers come for the last 150 years, as we've been captive, and by captive I mean former prisoners of war in this settler colonial, cis hetero patriarchal capitalist settler colonial space. We know. So just take that time and think. If your great grandmama didn't recognize it as food, you probably shouldn't eat it. If it's got a bunch of commercials on TV, you know, you may want to consider whether or not that's something you want to eat. You know, the closer you get to the earth, wherever you are, if you can get to a farmer's market, not a place called farmer's market, but an actual farmer's market, that'll help you. Just right there, you can talk to the folks. You can see what's happening. I'm going to be talking on more than likely it's going to be a Facebook Live in partnership with the Intersection for Mankind on the 26th. I'm going to be doing a piece talking about earth, gardens, gardening, and soil, getting into the earth, different ways and levels of doing that from a physical perspective all the way to a spiritual, ancestral way of being in tune with the earth so that you can increase your plant yields and working with your plants. That's on the 26th, okay? I do this every Sunday at 3 o'clock. Not next Sunday, we're gonna do it a different time. I'm gonna put that out because I've also been called to do some of these things with my family. So my family has tasked me to do some things that I need to do for my family. So we're gonna change that 3 o'clock. But I want you to know that if it wasn't for my family, I'd have this consistent 3 o'clock, okay? So I want you to understand a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change is the thing that you want to look at right now. And the lifestyle change is easy because folks want to do it all the time because of health or whatever reasons. I need to make a lifestyle change. And folks can make a commitment to it, and usually it's death that helps you make a commitment to a lifestyle change. But the main thing I want you to think about is don't let the threat of death be that impetus. It may for many, but don't let it be. And let it be consistent, okay? All I'm asking is that people think consistency is boring until you think about the seasons that we're fasting with are consistent. The earth rotates every day, so the sun appears as if it rises and falls. And we depend on that. And so while folks think that, you know, reliability and dependability is boring, I want you to really take the opportunity to look deeper and see the beauty in it. And to take the time for yourself over the next few days and, you know, reach out. Hopefully you enjoyed the time we were able to spend together. But breathe easy, breathe deep, full breaths, drink clean mountain spring water, eat as much organic fruits and vegetables as you can, take care of your teeth, and move your body in ways that feel good to you. It don't have to be Tai Chi and yoga. It could be Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu with Professor Zahalia or Doshi Healing Arts with Sister Nati. It could be African dance with Ian Zinga and Mama Nene and Sharm Mawasi. Or it could be dances from your culture, your traditional background, taiko drumming. Or it can be traditional drumming, danza azteca. Find what it is for you. Move your body. Consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. Htpu, peace to you, Ankh, Udja, Seneb, life, health, and strength. We out. And with that, We out, fam. Want to thank everybody for their attention, for their time, and for their love. You could have been doing many things, but you decided to rock it with a brother. Htpu. Again, peace to you and greetings. Uncle Seneb, life, health, and strength.